Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while, I have to say. I feel like I've kind of fallen off that, upload 2 videos a week kind of flow. So bear with me if it takes me a while to, film and upload things. Life is crazy over here. But that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today, and my birth story, my home birth story, and just kind of share with you guys life with 2 kids right now. It's pretty crazy, but it's a lot of fun. If you are into that kind of thing, I would definitely recommend you subscribe to my channel, like this video. If you like mom content, pregnancy videos, postpartum videos, I definitely want to do more of those now in the future. So stay tuned. And I definitely want to get in that habit again of recording 2 videos a week. It's just right now we're adjusting to a new situation in our life, and it's a new normal, and it's wonderful, it's beautiful, but it's messy. Baby isn't in my arms right now. I wanted to record him in my arms, but he is napping right now downstairs. My husband is bouncing him in his bouncer. So if he does wake up, I might be holding him. We will see. Grab a snack or tea, coffee, whatever you like, and it's story time. I'm just so hungry all the time, you guys. So if I'm chewing a lot in this video, that's why. We'll be okay. I'm gonna share with you guys my birth story and how that all went about. I just wanted to talk about it because I did post a vlog about it. So if you want to check that out and just kind of get a visual of what a home birth can look like, definitely recommend you check that out. But I just want to talk about it and talk about like how I was feeling, how I was emotionally and mentally. And we will start on September 1st. And that was a Thursday night. It was around 10 p.m. and I just was feeling like those period cramps, those really strong period cramps. And I don't know, I definitely thought like, okay, is this Braxton Hicks? Is this just pregnancy cramping? Like, just things to prepare me for labor, but maybe I'm not actually gonna go into labor until a couple days later or even a week later. And I was 39 weeks and like 5 days. So I was pretty much almost on my due date. My due date was actually on Labor Day, which was crazy if I would have actually had him on Labor Day, but God had other plans. Yeah, I was just feeling those cramps though. And for me though, I didn't want to rush into it too soon. I didn't want to call my midwife up and just be like, hey, I think the baby's here. Cause I just didn't know for sure. And I didn't want them to have to come here and then realize, nothing's happened or nothing's progressing. And I would just feel so bad. And they also live about an hour to an hour and a half away. So I would feel bad for all the midwives to have to drive that far distance, and they have to pay for that all too, out of their own pocket. I think it was around midnight when I finally reached out to my midwife, because they just kept getting stronger and stronger, and now it was around 10 minutes apart contractions. And my midwife told me, okay, just go try to get rest if you can, but first take some magnesium, take a shower, and just really try to rest up right now, because if this is really it, you need to try to get enough rest in, enough sleep in, so you can feel really as much energized as you can for the next day to actually go into labor. And I tried. I took my shower, took the magnesium, and I tried to fall asleep, but it's so hard. I know some people can sleep through contractions. I am not one of them. So, and it was very random. It was sometimes 6 minutes apart, sometimes 8 minutes, sometimes 5 minutes. So it was just so sporadic and hard to tell what was really going on in my body and everything, but I knew this is probably it. The thing though is I was just thinking this is going to be just like how Arya was born, because I don't know, in my head I was thinking that way because my first daughter who we had, she was also home birth, and I was feeling contractions around the same time, around midnight, and I had her at 8 p.m. the next day. So it was almost like a full 24 hours. I was just expecting it to be just as long for Arthur's birth, and I'm just so happy that it went a lot faster than that. It's nice, if you don't know, it's usually your second child, it will go a lot quicker. And I don't know if it's the more kids you have or just being the second child, but just know that gives you some encouragement, I feel like, for me at least. So yeah, I tried to sleep through the night, and it was around 4 a.m. where I just decided to go downstairs, and because I wanted my husband to get some rest in, and I was just in so much pain that I would just wake him up constantly. And so I went downstairs to the couch, tried to sleep, and that did not work. And then my midwife came over around 5 a.m. or 5:30, and she brought like all the supplies, and we set up the birth pool. It was very nerve-wracking though, because when we set the birth pool up, the hose to the adapter did not fit our sink, and that was obviously a problem because then we can't get water into the pool through the hose. So thankfully though, we could just use big buckets and then pour it in that way. So they were already setting up the pool, and I was in my head, I'm like, what? I'm not going to be needing the pool till like later this late evening, you know? And it was already like super early in the morning, and I was just thinking, no, like I don't want you guys to have to set that up, and I'm not going to use it yet, or the water will get too cold then. But they set it up, and I think that helped me prepare more for this, and realizing, okay, this is actually going to go a lot quicker than I think it will go, and I'm going to be grateful about that. So now it was around 6:30 a.m. and there were 3 midwives that also came over. So now there were 4 midwives that were here. And I already knew this, like I knew there would be 2 student midwives coming, and then 2 other more, you know, the real deal ones. And I knew that already. In my head, I'm like, you know, the more the merrier, more support, more encouraging people around, like that's great. And my husband was here. I was gonna have my friend come over, and she was gonna take pictures. She was gonna like record the whole thing. But then I realized, no, I actually need less people in the room. Like when they all came in, my contractions just stopped, and I didn't know that could happen. But I just feel like them staring at me, and it's not like they were like being like, come on, like why isn't anything happening? But to me, it just felt like they were staring at me and wanting things to progress, just waiting, you know, and I know they were being patient, but like it just felt like there's so much pressure. And I realized, you know, I don't think this is helping my contractions. Like I wanted to progress and everything, and they just completely went away then. So my midwife just told me to go upstairs. They're gonna go out for breakfast, so they're just gonna leave for a little bit. And she told me to go get some rest, and that was good because I'm thankful like my contractions did stop, because I did need a lot of sleep, because I just did not sleep at all for the whole night. And I probably took like a 30-minute nap, which was great. Like I really needed that. And then my contractions started again. And I'm like, thank you, Lord. Because again, I feel so bad if my midwives came and then I didn't even, like this wasn't the real thing. So they came back after breakfast, and now it was around like 7:30. And I was just on the exercise ball. I tried to walk around. I definitely felt more like I could move around more, and I know that helped me. Like it felt so uncomfortable at first to stand up, but like once you're getting the groove in and you're moving, like it felt better, and it felt natural to me. And like being on all fours helped too. And taking the exercise ball, like having it under your arms like this and just laying on it like that really helped too. So just doing a lot of different positions, you know, experiment with that. Like that's the one thing I just love about home births, is you can be in whatever position you want. You do not have to just be on your back if that's not comfortable to you. I was definitely feeling just overwhelmed, but excited, but also just scared. Inside I was scared, but I'm the type of person that, like if I'm feeling scared on the inside, I know if I show it on the outside, I'm just gonna feel even more scared and more anxious, more nervous. Like I know some people are totally different than that. Like my husband, for instance, he needs to express himself. He needs to like get those emotions out in the open, talk about it, and then he'll feel better. And I think I am like that in some certain circumstances. But in this situation, being in labor, I did not want to show it, because I just felt like then it's real, then it's even more like, like this is really happening. But I just really tried to relax myself. My midwives told me to especially relax your shoulders. That's the one thing I kept forgetting, and I just was tensing up all the time. But when they always told me to do that, that really helped. And relaxing my face, relaxing, you know, just, magnesium, again, that helped. It relaxes your uterus, so I took more of that. This was such a great experience. It was very intense, and it was just exhausting. It really was, but it was beautiful. And now it was like around, I want to say 10 a.m. Yeah, yeah, it was around 10 a.m. and my midwife was like, so would you like to get checked? Do you want to see how much you're dilated? And I was like, kind of, yeah. I don't know, like I wanted like that peace of mind just to know like things are progressing. But at the same time, I didn't want to get my hopes up. And my midwife is just like, you know what? I don't think we need to. Like, she just had a feeling that, you know, things were already progressing and you really don't need to do it if you don't want to. And it might actually like slow things down if you did find out. And she told me to just get in the pool. And when she told me that, I feel like that really helped. It just helped me realize this is really happening. She knows like I can do this, and she knows like she's a professional. Like, my midwife is amazing, and she knows like if I'm ready, then I can know I'm ready too, if that makes sense. Yeah, it was around 10 a.m. I got in the pool, and that felt really good because I could just be more in a squatted position. I could lean over the edge if I wanted. The pool was very comfortable and just spacious. So just, yeah, it just was a great thing to have in our living room. It was around 10:25 a.m. and I just had that urge to push. And if you have had a baby before and you've pushed vaginally, you will know it probably feels like you're pooping. And it definitely felt like that. And this is something though I did not do with Aria when I was pushing her out, because like everyone would tell me your body will just know, you'll just know when to push. And for me, like it's just like hearing like when you find your first love, you'll just know when you're in love. You'll just know. And to me, I'm like, how do you know? How do you know when your body is really ready to push? And I just did not know what that would really feel like and everything. So when I was pregnant with Aria, when I was trying to push her out, I just forced her. I just forced those pushes basically. And I was pushing for a good hour. And then when she finally came out, and then I realized, oh, that's what it really feels like when your body just naturally does it on its own. Like, our bodies are amazing. God has built our bodies just wonderfully to be able to do this kind of thing. And then to just, yeah, you don't even have to think about it. Like, it'll just push it out for you. And that feeling was amazing. So I just tried, in my head, I was just thinking, I need to wait as long as I can before my body really needs to know to push. And I just am not even gonna worry about it. Now I'm gonna stress out about it. Like, oh, do I need to push now? Is it the time? Like, I'm not gonna freak out about it. Not gonna stress out about it. And that helped me immensely. Just because I feel like it opened myself even more, just not worrying so much about the pushing and just trusting my body to be able to do it. At 10:28, I pushed him out. I ended up pushing for about 5 minutes, which that was amazing. Because it was like 2 big pushes, and then I had to wait because after I pushed those 2 times, he was crowning. And when they said that, I was so excited, but I was still like, you know, feeling the contractions come back, and I was feeling them for a good minute again. So I just waited. I just was like, nope, this will help me not tear so much either. So I just decided to wait, not have to force it. And then once I felt that urge come back and the contractions kind of stopped again, and I just pushed him out that last push, and it ended up being only 5 minutes, and that was just so amazing. Yeah, it still feels like a dream. It was around 10:28 a.m. that Arthur Sebastian Cordis was born. And he was 7 pounds 14 ounces and then 21.5 inches long. And when he came out, I was like, you are so tall. I was still in the tub for a good, like, I think 20 minutes after pushing him out, and I was just holding him the whole time. And that's the one great thing too, is when you have home birth, you don't have to worry about them taking the baby away. Like, they did that a lot later to clean him up, but they were like, no, we just want baby on you. Make sure you get skin to skin connection. And then they cut the umbilical cord while he was on me. It was my husband that cut the cord. He did that with Aria too. So that was just really nice, just a nice special thing. I just felt like huge relief. Everything was just feeling so good. Like, I didn't have my acid reflux anymore either. Like, those small things that like I just couldn't notice. Like, there was just a huge change in how I felt. I just felt so good. Felt like I could just breathe just normally, and obviously I wasn't feeling contractions at that moment. It was great. Then I forgot, oh yeah, after you have another baby, like once you have 2 kids or more, like your contractions, or you'll feel those cramps even more after giving birth. And I forgot about that. And I forgot to get that after ease tincture that everyone talks about getting. So I didn't use that. They gave me ibuprofen, but just know that like if you want to have more kids, you'll probably feel a little bit more cramping just because your uterus is trying to contract back to normal size. And the more kids you have, the more stretched out your uterus will get. So it just takes a lot longer for it to go back. And then you'll just have more of that uncomfortableness of the cramping. So I definitely was feeling that like 20 minutes after pushing him out. And oh yeah, and then I had to push the placenta out. I think they moved me to the couch. Yeah, we just set some towels and just a pad down on the couch, and then I laid on it. I pushed the placenta out, which feels really weird. And it's painful, but got everything out. They cleaned me out, and then the cramping was starting to come back again. And then when you breastfeed too, you'll start to feel that too. So just be aware of that. Just don't want to scare you, but it's just like, that's just what you have to deal with. Thankfully, my cramping only lasted like 4 days, I think. It's usually around 3 to 5 days, or it could be like a week long. So, but I would definitely recommend getting that after ease tincture. I've heard great things about that. I was on the couch for like a good hour and just getting used to breastfeeding him, and he latched on really great right away. So I was really thankful for that. Aria was like that too. Breastfeeding was very painful with Aria, but this time around went a lot better. I just knew more what to expect. So if you've never breastfed before, just know that like it might be very uncomfortable in the beginning, but it gets a lot better. And I just want you to know that, because I just think like you got to do what works for you and the baby. And if you need to do formula, do it. Like whatever feeds you and the baby, you do it. But at the same time, like if you want to stop breastfeeding because it's just so painful and it's just like your nipples are cracked and bleeding, like I get it and it sucks. And I went through that with Aria. My sister-in-law though, she told me like that first month is gonna suck. When she told me that though, like I was like, okay. She prepared me. She told me it's going to last about a month. And I told myself, I'm going to give it a month and see how it goes. And then she also told me naturally your nipples will toughen up. They will like get callous, which sounds really gross, but that's a good thing. That means that they're getting stronger. They're getting used to that feeling, kind of so that it's a little more numb when your baby will suck. And over time though, after that month, I could not feel it, and it was amazing. It's like, how can you go from that, like just feeling so in pain and just so uncomfortable, to I can't even feel it anymore. So I just want to give you encouragement. If you are going through breastfeeding right now and it's just so hard and painful and you just want to cry every time you have to breastfeed, because I know it sucks, but give it a month. And if after a month it's still the same, then yeah, you do formula or whatever you need to do. But just try. And I know, again, it's so hard. And I just sympathize with every woman going through breastfeeding. It's tough. I would love to do a breastfeeding video, like maybe series or something, just things I've been learning. Pumping, I can include in there. So if you want more information on that, I can definitely talk more about that with you guys. But again, I'm not any professional, so definitely talk to a lactation consultant about that, or go to your doctor about all that. So after being on the couch for about an hour, I was able to get up, and I really had to make sure I wasn't spreading my legs so much. My midwife, that's the one thing my midwife told me, was not to spread your legs out, and don't even sit in this crisscross position. Like just keep your legs closed as much as you can. That will prevent tearing. I tore a tiny bit, just like with Aria, and she said, we do not have to stitch you up. Just make sure to keep them closed. Try to rest as much as you can this week and next week. Stay in bed and just don't move unless you have to go to the bathroom. I just stayed in our bedroom for like the first 2 weeks. And my husband was just amazing though. He would bring up meals for me and take care of Aria, and he just did so much. So I'm just really grateful for him that I was able to have that support. This is your time to rest. So if someone wants to come over and see your baby, this is something I'm such a people pleaser, so it's so hard for me to say no. But it's like, if you do not want people to come, especially like right away, you can say no. Say, nope, I need my time. I need to first take a good long nap. Because the great thing is when baby is first born, they nap a ton. And their very first nap is like a good 6-hour nap. At least that's what it was for Arthur. And that first nap was just amazing. I really needed that. Like, if someone wants to come over and see your baby, like, have them, you know, especially if they want to bring something, or if they're asking if you need something, take advantage of it. Like, if they want to bring a meal and they're asking you where you want to eat, tell them. if they need, or if they are going to pick up something from the store, tell them what you need, and don't feel bad if it's like a huge list, a huge grocery list or something. Like, you need that time to just be with you and your baby. You do not need to focus on like cleaning the dishes or going grocery shopping or doing whatever. Like, if someone wants to come over and they want to hold your baby, like, be like, could you do the dishes? Or could you go clean this? Like, you know, obviously you don't have to demand it, but it's just a nice thing when you can have people come over and it's more than just, oh, I'm just here to see the baby and you. It's like, no, you can come and help me. And I just think that's great, because I think people naturally do want to. I think some people just maybe are a little, don't know how to go about it when they come over and see you. And that just makes me to remember, like, if I'm going to go over to my friend's house who just had a baby, or my relative's house, I want to help them as much as I can too, and bring them a meal or clean for them. Like, you know, just even the smallest thing really helps. Like, my friend, she came over a couple of days later, and I just ran out of moisturizer, and I was like, could you get me some moisturizer at Walgreens? Like, I'm sorry, but I really need some. And she's like, yeah, no problem. Like, people want to help you after you have a baby. I think also I just made sure to take time for was self-care during this time. When I was pregnant with Aria, we had to first go to the children's hospital 2 days after she was born, and we stayed there for a whole week. And that was the hardest. That was so hard, you guys, because they had to hook her up to a lot of monitors, and she had a heart murmur. So she had a procedure in like a couple days. So we were there for a whole week, and I want to say it was a wonderful time still, because I got to be with my daughter. But at the same time, it was miserable, because nursing, like trying to nurse a baby who's hooked up to all those cords, it's so hard and just emotionally draining. And my midwife, you know, was telling me the whole time, you need to rest as much as you can, try to sleep, try to you know, not spread out your legs, try not to walk. Now I've come to the realization we need self-care. And, you know, I've said this before, like, it can be a selfish thing. You can totally make it like, you know, where you're just doing it all the time and it's getting to be unhealthy and you're obsessed about it. Like, that's not good. But I think just do an hour of it a day at least is so good. And in the mornings now, I try to wake up a little bit before Aria does, so I can still get a shower in, or I can do my makeup or something that, you know, read a book. You know, self-care can look so different for everybody. And so I just really tried to take time for that. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I was gonna do a Q&A on this, but I only got like one response. There was this one question, and she just asked, like, how is life with 2 kids going right now? And it's wonderful. It really is, you guys. It's a lot of work. And I will say that first week after Arthur was born, it was actually really easy, because again, I was just in bed. Like, it was hard for my husband. Like, I just give him kudos for taking care of our daughter, especially. And because she's very high strung and very picky, particular, and you know, it could be something she'll grow out of eventually, but I know my husband is definitely like that too, just very needs things to go a certain way. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I think especially when you're little and you don't understand all that, it's really challenging. And it's challenging for you to stay patient with it all. And now throwing another baby into the mix, it amplifies it all. And she definitely became very jealous at first, especially when she'd see me nursing him. And whenever she saw the boppy in particular, she wanted to take the boppy, because she knew the boppy was like something she always laid on when I would nurse her, and just brought, you know, those feelings back for her. And we did a lot of TV time. I'm not gonna feel guilty about it, you know. I definitely try to limit it now that life's back more into normalcy. But like seriously, that first 2 weeks we needed something else just to help entertain her, because I was learning. We were both learning how to take care of a newborn again and how to balance it all. So don't feel guilty if you have to do that. Honestly, you're in survival mode right now. If you do have a lot of family members coming over though, then yeah, take advantage of that help. The second week, my husband was still home, so that was really nice. But then it got more challenging, obviously, because then I needed to help Aria more and just tend to her more and everything. And then the third week was really challenging because that's when my husband went back to work. And so that's when life reality really kicked in for me. But I will say Arthur is 3 weeks old now. And so now we're coming into the fourth week and Tony is still back at work. So I feel like I've definitely adjusted actually very quickly, and I don't know, now it just feels fine. And things, I think what's hard though is that since with a newborn, they're not in a good routine yet where everything's predictable. And like Arthur will, especially like during the day, he naps a lot during the day, and then he won't really sleep very well at night. So I was up like basically every half hour feeding him or changing his diaper or trying to soothe him, rock him at night every half hour or every hour. And I basically got like 2 hours of sleep a night. So that was miserable. It was very miserable for both of us in that regard. But again, it was just amazing to be able to be with Arthur finally and get to show Aria what it's like to be a big sister. Like, this is such a huge thing for her, and she's so excited about it. And she loves her little brother, and she's always wanting to give him a kiss. I think it's great for kids to also know, like, obviously if you are giving your child enough attention, that's great. But I think it's good for children to also know that they are not the center of the whole world and they're not the center of their family, because that helps them grow to not be spoiled and not, like, I think it's great to spoil them with your love. Don't feel bad if like you have to feed your baby, you know, and your toddler is needing you to help them with a toy, but like you have to feed your baby. Like, for me, I've just been learning, okay, this is what I'm going to tell Aria. Like, if I'm nursing Arthur and she needs me because she's having a big meltdown about, you know, she's trying to fit her puzzle piece and it just won't fit in correctly, I will just tell her, instead of telling her, I can't help you right now, I'm feeding Arthur. I'm not going to tell her that. Instead, I'm going to say, I'm feeding Arthur right now, but I will come and help you after I'm done. And I just think changing that dialogue has really helped, because it just lets her know, I will come and help you. You just have to wait a little bit. Instead of just saying, I can't do this right now, or I can't, you know, we can't go outside because I have to feed. And, you know, I don't know, just try to change the dialogue if you can. Like, some kids maybe just don't really pick up on that, but I feel like Aria really does. Another thing I've been doing too is when I'm taking care of Aria, like if I am changing her diaper and Arthur is crying, I will tell Arthur, hey Arthur, I know you really want me to hold you, and I will very soon. Your sister needs a diaper change though. And so that she can hear, like, oh, mommy does care about me, you know, like, yeah, of course, I'm going to take care of you too. And I just think it's good to like just communicate constantly throughout the day to your kids. And even if your newborn doesn't obviously understand what you're saying, your other kids will, like, they can hear you too. So just being, you know, try to talk sweetly, try to talk calmly, especially if you're stressed out. Try to calm yourself, but easier said than done, I know. And again, though, don't feel bad if you have to give more time to your newborn. Obviously, duh. And I just think it helps the other kids realize they are not the center, and that's a good thing, because then they'll grow up to also care for others and not just think about me all the time. So yeah, I think that was everything I wanted to cover for today's story time. I would love to know if you are pregnant right now, or if you're planning on doing a home birth, or what your plan is for your labor. I want to know, and I want to encourage you and lift you up in prayer with all that. So definitely comment that down below. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this kind of video. I definitely like these sit down chit chat, very casual, grab a snack kind of videos. So if you want more of these kind of videos in the future, let me know. I Honestly, guys, I don't know what video I'm gonna do next. Like, I just have not been thinking about YouTube, to be honest with you guys. Just, again, a lot's been going on, but I do want to eventually get into the more of a routine and be able to record more for you guys. Definitely will be brainstorming this week and coming up with a bunch of other videos I want to make. But if there's any particular video you want me to make, definitely comment that down below as well, and I can try to do that. If there's any questions you want me to answer to, I could do a future Q&A, and hopefully I'll have more than one question. But yeah, I hope you guys got a lot out of this, and I will see you in the next video. Stay golden.